हरि ओम।
हरिओम सर।
Hari Om sir, Hari Om everyone.
Hari Om, sir. Hari Om,
हरि ओम।
everyone.
Hari Om everyone.
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.
प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमं सगतिं तुरीयं यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति। We'll chant from verses 25 to 29. Verses 25 to 29. Chapter 3. सक्ता कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विन्द्वांस्तथा सक्तः। One second. कुर्याद्विन्द्वांस्तथा सक्तः। चिकीर्लोकस्य कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुलोकसंग्रहं. Yes, that's it. Okay, 25. सक्ता कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विन्द्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसंग्रहम्. सक्ता कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विन्द्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसंग्रहम्. न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. प्रकृतेर्क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालये प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालये. Okay. Are there any questions?
If no one has, then I.
Divyaji had a question yesterday in the group. Is Divyaji here?
Hanji, I am. Good morning. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. 1 second. Let me pull out the question. I like how some of you gave your perspective, and that's nice. That's how it should be. What was the question? Question was, I have a question. Good. What is the origin of a disturbing thought? If thoughts are the result of vasanas, why do disturbing thoughts arise? How can a desire be a disturbing one, leading to a disturbing thought? So, first of all, what is a disturbing thought? Do you mean where you are disturbed, or where the world should be disturbed of you? I mean, where you are worried or stressed or afraid, or where you have some kind of sadistic thought and the world should be disturbed of you, like, oh, what a weird thought to have, what strange desires. What do you mean by disturbing thought?
The thought's disturbing to me. It comes at times when I'm at peace. I don't want it. And it's
Yeah.
the most disturbing way to look at a thing. But it keeps coming. It keeps recurring. And I'm like, how can it be a desire?
Yeah.
I don't desire this. I don't want to think about this. I never desired it.
Yeah. So you're quite right, and it's not a desire, right? See, I think for simplification's sake, we talk about the chronology of an action being a vasana grows into a thought, which swells into a desire, which prompts action, right? But to see the sum total of all thoughts simply as desires would be an oversimplification. So as Prachi pointed out, she said unfulfilled desires, but she didn't say much more after that. But that's moving in the right direction. See, a disturbing thought, what is disturbing to you generally comes in the form of a worry, a fear, an unknown, right? Something that is uncertain. That is what is generally disturbing. If you look into there are 5 causes to fear. The first one among them is ignorance. When you don't know something, when you're in the dark, you have a fear of the dark. When it's uncertain, when you don't know how things will pan out, you are ignorant about that, there is naturally a fear. So while your current state might be one where you are pleasant, and in fact, the irony is that when things are pleasant, fear develops. Why? Because you develop a fear of losing what you have. You develop a fear of going into a state of uncertainty from this state of certainty. So disturbing thoughts arise naturally when there is either a obstruction to something you wish for, or the possibility of losing something that you have. Both ways. Fear arises either when you have an unfulfilled desire and you're afraid, oh, you may not get what you actually want or seek. You develop a pessimistic view. You develop almost a And generally, as human beings, we tend to start focusing on what's not working out rather than what's working out. So then that leads to a host of disturbing thoughts and possibilities. What could go wrong? And that's what we focus on. Or, given that life is in a relatively serene place, what if I lose what I have? What if I lose my sense of security? So, it's not directly a desire, but it's indirectly related to desire, that you develop a sense of fear, a sense of angst, a sense of worry around either not getting what you want or losing what you have. The extent to which you have an attachment to what you possess, you will entertain such disturbing possibilities. And then of course, nobody wants to face terrible situations in life, but we almost shrug knowledge under the carpet. We don't want to address a situation if we don't have to. And we just hope nothing bad happens with us. So that's the way in which most people function, right? Unbeknownst to the fragility of life, just caught up in their own mental patterns. Because life is fragile. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam. Adi Shankaracharya says, Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam tadva jivita matishaya chapalam. Life is like a drop of water trembling on a lotus leaf. In Calcutta especially, we see a lot of lotus leaves floating on the water. And the surface of the lotus leaf is very slippery. So no water sticks on it. Even if it sticks by chance, even if it stays, because water by nature is sticky, incidentally. If you study some, you're a doctor, you'd know water by nature has a sticky,
Cohesive force.
right? But on a lotus leaf, it's trembling because the surface of a lotus leaf is slippery. So life is like that fragile drop of water that's trembling on a lotus leaf. Anytime it can flow out. So life is fragile. Because we don't prepare for it with knowledge, because we don't address this thought early on, it grows in the background as a worry or disturbance, a terrible, terrible possibility. And then when that takes grip of you, it turns into a host of disturbing thoughts. So it's not directly a desire, but it is related to a desire to either get something you want and you're not getting it, or losing what you have. Generally, it's the latter. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
It may continue into a pessimism. When you've lost something when you've lost something, then you may turn pessimistic. That can lead to another type of disturbing thoughts, right? So at each stage, it's related to either losing what or not getting what you wish for, or losing what you are attached to, or developing a sense of pessimism, of not being able to deal with losses. One way or the other, it is related to a stage of a desire. Yes, Ankit, Prachi.
Actually, knowing this, how can we deal with a disturbing thought once it does arise? Because, like Divyaji was saying, that it could be repetitive, and you might have the knowledge for this, that how it might have arisen in you. But does that really solve the question in your mind, or does that really solve the disturbing thought?
When your mind is really disturbed, drink a glass of water. When your mind is really disturbed, drink a glass of water, distract your mind, deviate it. The 11th hour is not the time for. The first thing you have to do to a disturbed mind is to calm it down through indirect means. Hurling knowledge at something. See, either a mind is prepared to deal with a situation, and that preparation happens at a time of relative calm. So the first thing is, when someone's mind is disturbed, you don't hurl knowledge at them or yourself. You don't have to lecture yourself at I had shared that when my little one passed, my little dog Shih Tzu, so I was in the hospital. I had taken him to the emergency. I don't know if I think I told you all. There was a lady who started lecturing me about how this is destined. I thought to myself, oh my God, I've given so much Bhagavad Gita lectures that now someone's lecturing me. That's not the time. That's not the time. Of course, she meant well. But so when a mind is disturbed, you don't try to explain or make it understand, right? You try indirect means to calm it down. You try various emotions. You try distractions. When you're in a relatively calm place, or when it is a little, it's like what Lord Krishna did with Arjuna, right? Then you have to feed it knowledge. Knowledge is the only savior, period. Sorry to break it to you. Only path. It's the only, and when I say knowledge, I don't mean only these verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Any knowledge that deals with life and living. Anything that strengthens your constitution, makes you think, reason, and adopt a certain worldview, opens your mind up to the nature of life, right? That strengthens you. So you have to fortify yourself with knowledge. That's why we're having this class. In a relative time of peace, we're trying to fortify ourselves. So first thing is drink water and calm yourself down. Second thing is, next morning come to class. When my mind is disturbed, this is what I need to do. See, when your mind is disturbed, you can't attend class. Your mind will be distracted, it will be anxious. So you first have to bring it to a place of relative peace, where you're willing to listen, where you're able to take in, and then nourish yourself with knowledge. Then you'll automatically find a solution to the problem. You will, or at least you will steadily proceed towards a solution. It won't happen overnight. The realization, the impact of knowledge won't be overnight, but it definitely has an immediate reassuring effect. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Certainly share it. If I may say that, if you have a disturbing thought, don't keep it within yourself. You must share it with someone who you can talk to, with someone who you can rely upon, or someone whose counsel you seek, right? So don't keep it suppressed, right? We do a lot better if we spoke meaningfully with each other. So certainly talk about it. Yes, Rashmiji, you had a question.
Sir, my question was very related to this only, that when we are in a very emotional state, like Arjun was, that time when we are using knowledge, any past knowledge or any knowledge which we have, and that thought, that knowledge, that thought about some kind of knowledge that comes in, that during that emotional state, we do tend to come down. So that was very related. My question was very related to what you were explaining only. So I think half of my answer you gave.
See, we have enough of a community around us to support us when things are messy. So take the support of the community and reassure yourself emotionally, but that itself will not suffice. You have to become self-sufficient. When I say self-sufficient, you have to gain knowledge to stand firm in the face of the challenges of life and be a support for others. Because just as others supported you, others will also need your support. And hopefully you will be able to guide them appropriately in situations. So, yeah. Yes, Mihir.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Hi. Sorry. Actually, it's related to this exact topic. I actually had this experience over the weekend where I had this, these sort of, shall we say, dark thoughts or bad thoughts in one's head regarding another person. And, I was not being able to discuss it with people. And eventually, one gets into this sort of loop of bad thoughts. And then you can't break out of it. And then, then I basically had I argued with this person and I was rude and, upset towards them. And or to put it mildly, I think. But then how does one get to this, ability to or at least start the self-control cycle? I can understand that it may not be easy to get to master it, but, what could be the possible beginnings of stopping these, through self help these chains of thought?
Um, First and foremost, again, I'm not here to provide. Oh, why should I even say that? Actually, you know, there are there are professional therapists who do a lot of good work around this kind of stuff, and it's very important that if beyond the point someone is facing a situation which they cannot claw out of, then definitely reach out to such professionals who will be able to handle a certain difficult situation. That said, in general, I feel, it's my personal opinion, is that we ought to talk about what we're feeling. We ought to talk about, our thoughts openly with people in confidence, without a lot of us have a worry of how I will be perceived or how my thoughts will be perceived or whether anyone will understand me or whether I'll be understood at all, whether I'll be accepted. So it's very important for people to have such people in their lives with whom they can open up and share everything that's happening in their mind, good, bad, ugly, right? I think that's perhaps the first step. That when you at least get a soundboard, it's like a load shedding, right? So the first thing to breaking that loop or at least addressing that loop of thoughts is to share with someone else these thoughts that you're having, in all honesty, in all transparency. And thereafter, the second step would be to find someone with whom you can gain counsel, right? So someone who can actually guide you in this regard. So the first person may just have been someone who's listening and helping you shed load, but someone who can actually guide you and understand what you're going through and guide you without judgment, right? It's very important to find such people in your life. It could be a teacher, it could be a friend, it could be a therapist, right? In the absence of reliable people to guide us, there are a lot of good therapists out there who can be the support for people. So I think, as you rightly said, it's a chain and it's a loop that your mind gets into. And ultimately, the goal is to become self-sufficient in it. But that's a journey. That's a journey which happens through a lot of sharing, a lot of open, non-judgmental sort of discussion about what my mind is going through. So, if there's anything specific you want to talk about, you can reach out to me, and I can even guide you to the right places. Yeah. But it happens to all of us. We're all in this loop. The problem is that most of us don't talk about it. Most of us pretend like we don't have anything happening in our mind. We want to put up a brave face in front of the world, or show that everything is fine. Everybody's facing their issues. Yes, Anjumji.
Would it be appropriate to address the core of it, like to go to the source? If you are having an issue, or if you're having these thoughts, to contemplate first what the thoughts are, and then if it's with something or someone, to have a conversation, to address it with that person instead of trying to go other places first. First, understand the whole situation by yourself.
Yeah. No, you're not going other places to necessarily talk about it and spread information about it. You're going to very select and upon your discretion, you're going to very select places for counsel, so that you can go to the root of the problem or understand the root of the problem better. That's why you go to either and may your relationship be with the other person be so straightforward that you can actually speak to them in all honesty and all straightforwardness about it. That would be the best, wouldn't it?
Right.
Then there wouldn't be a problem. Then that question also
I mean,
wouldn't.
sometimes these things are actually small, and it's a misunderstanding, or it's some kind of a
We don't
which
need
actually
to talk about it.
conjures itself into a big issue in our own minds.
Absolutely. And the problem is that when people get into this loop, when they're trying to talk about a problem with another person who is at the who is the sort of the second party to the problem, the ego comes into the way. Someone makes some snide comments. You try to express something, but you also say something passive aggressively, and then it gets into an unnecessary argument. Right. See, if people were objective enough, they wouldn't let these problems grow beyond a point. They would know when to cut it, they'd know when to address it. Right. That's an ideal world we're talking about. And I really wish, I for certain am a very private person. You'll rarely ever hear about, I won't talk to anyone about 99% of things unless I really need to. So I know what you're saying, right? What's the point of including a third party? Well, the point comes when you're not able to address it. And because you're not able to address it, because you're not able to deal with it in a, even then, it's not that you tell anyone and everyone.
Right.
What I'm saying
Right.
is that you have to
Only the people.
you
Yeah.
have to have someone with whom you can share, right? Most of us keep our thoughts and feelings bottled up. Neither can we address it to the second party, and neither is there any third party with whom we can share it, right? So it's very important for you. Ideally, see, you don't need many relationships, and you don't need to have many relationships in life. You don't need more than 2 or 3 relationships in life. You don't. And may those 2 or 3 relationships be so solid that it's sufficient, right? But that takes work to cultivate that with someone, right? And that's what we're talking about, being able to share yourself completely honestly, so as you said, that figure out the problem. Well, we'll only figure out the problem if we talk about it, only if we articulate it, right? Before we even articulate the problem, we have some preconceived notions about it, or some emotions get in the way, and our explanations of problems more become a blaming or an insult to the other. All these complexes arise. So chances are a third person will be able to listen to. Hopefully, you reach out to a person who is relatively wise, and they'll be able to hear you out patiently, without jumping the gun, without judging you, and show you the mirror. So we're really looking to reach out to someone who will show us the mirror. That's really what it is. But it's important to talk about it. Most people don't talk about it. All they do is argue with the other person about it. Eventually, the funny thing is, once we resolve it, we realize, oh, these problems are silly. Half the things are so stupid.
Mostly. Yeah.
How could I get it? But that's only retrospective.
Yeah.
When you're in the situation, it feels like, oh my God, I have to scale this mountain. In retrospect, 99.99% of your problems seems silly. And they are silly. You'll laugh about it in a couple of years. Let me tell you. I'm sure you already laugh about a lot of things in your life, in retrospect. It's like, oh my God, when I was a student, I was so worried about my grades. I was so silly. When you were a student, it was
Biggest thing.
a terrible situation, right? So right now you're worried about your relationships and your work or your contracts or this or that. 10 years later, you'll be laughing about it.
Thank you.
Question is, can you laugh about it right now? That's what makes you a philosopher. Oh my God, I have been thrown into this soup. I have to swim in this soup. Can you cheerfully take on any challenges? That's what makes you a philosopher. Omji.
Yes, I was just thinking that disturbed mind is like a turbidity in the water. Now, how do we clean the water? Either we filter it or let it settle down. The turbidity, let it settle down. If it is so adamant, वो हम लोग फटकरी यूज करते हैं ना, तो we take the advice of somebody जो precipitate कर देता है सारी matters को. जैसे a spiritual leader will precipitate the matter in 1 minute, like a chemical action, he settle down everything. Then mind becomes totally clear. हम जो पानी पीते हैं इतने फिल्टर्स में होके आता है, तो it is पीने लायक होता है. Thoughts are also like that, कि कुछ भी उसमें turbidity आ जाए, so it can harm our body and all that. It's the same thing. I think the simile of water can be used. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong.
No, absolutely. Are your thoughts, not every thought is worth drinking. You have to filter it and only ingest what is truly potable, right? Absolutely. Half our thoughts are useless. The art is to dismiss thoughts. That's the art. Your capacity to dismiss unnecessary thoughts. Thoughts of fear, jealousy, greed, anger, anxiety. Just watch it pass. Watch it. Be a sakshi. You are not useful to me. Bye-bye.
The very fact we don't react to the disturbed thought itself will cure you, actually.
No doubt. Easier said than done, right? And that's a capacity you have to develop. That's the power of detachment. Detachment allows you to do that. Attachment, you will swim with it.
Yeah.
Attached to something, you'll swim with every single thought. It's like a whirlpool. Knowledge is the raft which will help you in the whirlpool. Okay. Balaji. Okay, no question.
Yeah. Hari Om. Does knocks and shocks of the life Or can we say the real reason for one to take a spirituality in a very serious way? There are so many reasons out there. I'm asking this particular question.
For a lot of people, yes. Okay. In all honesty, a lot of people come or are brought into this journey because of some knocks or shocks in life that they have faced, some serious incidents or events that bring them here. But as I often say, it's not what brings you here, but what keeps you here that matters. Right? A lot of people come because of knocks and shocks. They get a little bit of dose, and then when things are okay, relatively okay, they forget about this. So what really matters in spirituality is not why you come, but why you stay. If something clicks, if something sticks, if something makes sense, then you go deeper into it. Then your primary reasons for coming also doesn't remain the sole reason for staying. You found something deeper. I've always found it. That's not the only reason, though. Especially when I took to studying Vedanta, people really thought something terrible happened in my life, or is everything okay? At least to my knowledge, till today, I can't figure out anything that was wrong with me, or anything bad that happened in my life. It was all quite all of a sudden. But it's not a rule that people come into this because of knocks and shocks. But definitely knocks and shocks make you go deeper into it. Definitely. You get an experience of life. You get a deeper understanding of some of these concepts. When you first hear these concepts, it's all very theoretical and you have a certain, understanding of it. But when you actually see life play out, first of all, this knowledge protects you from, insulates you from knocks and shocks. And it also helps you develop a deeper perspective, no doubt. So yeah, I would say a fair number of people come into this knowledge or seek answers because of certain knocks and shocks. Okay. We'll start with verse number 25. Sorry, these were tongue twisters. Verse number 25, chapter 3. Sakta karmanya vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktaha chikirshur loka sangraham. Sakta karmanya vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktaha chikirshur loka sangraham. O Bharata. Bharata is a name for Arjuna. O Bharata, as the ignorant act attached to action, so should the wise act unattached, wishing the welfare of the world. So once again, he's slightly changing his line of thought. From 20 to 24, he gave the emotional appeals where he used a personal example, he used fear, he used threat, he used some emotional cajoling, he tried to appeal to the ego of Arjuna, he used all these emotional techniques to convey to Arjuna that you must act. And now once again, they are, he's shifting gears. In verse number 24, I thought I wanted to cover something. No, okay, yeah. So, O Bharata, as the ignorant act attached to action, so should the wise one act unattached, wishing the welfare of the world. So just as Arjuna, the plethora of people, the multitude of people, the majority of people act ignorant, in an ignorant manner. They act in a way through attachment. They act with what is attachment to action? Attachment to action is of two forms, a kartritva bhavana and a bhoktritva bhavana. Remember these two words. Attachment to action means two things. A kartritva bhavana. A kartritva bhavana means a sense of doership. I am the actor. I am doing this. I am so important. Without me, it won't happen. I am responsible for this. It's happening because of me. I need to do this. I have been given this task. Kartritva bhavna. And bhoktritva bhavna. I wish this works out. I hope I succeed. Oh, how much fun it'll be once we achieve it. Am I progressing towards it? That anxiety, bhoktritva bhavna, the desire for the bhoga, the result, the enjoyment. So attachment to action happens in these two forms, kartritva bhavana and bhoktritva bhavana. A section of people don't act, they abstain from action, they are tamasic. These other section of people, the rajasic, act attached to action. They are also ignorant, no doubt. It's inaction. Action is better than inaction, but most people act attached to action in this form of kartritva and bhoktritva. That's the pattern most of us follow. But the wise person, the wise one, is a person who continues to act in the world. A wise person is one who remains engaged in the world but is unattached. They only carry a motive of loka sangraha. They only carry a motive of a spirit of service. That's it. Wishing the welfare of the world. May I play my part in doing good in the world. Without kartritva, without bhoktritva, not thinking of oneself as indispensable, seeing that one is a spoke in the wheel, and also having a spirit of surrender, that there is a cosmic ordina that has placed me in this position. There is a cosmic ordina that is following a certain pattern, that is ensuring the certain result of certain causes. It's a certainty. Cause and effect is a certainty. And so I will surrender to this cosmic intelligence. I will play my part and leave the result to this cosmic intelligence. That is how you overcome bhoktritva bhavana. What is meant for me will come to me, and what is not meant for me will need not come to me. I need not clamor over it. I need not crave it. I need not fight against nature to cling to it. That is true surrender. Surrender doesn't mean you don't enjoy what is given to you. Surrender means you play a part and let life happen. See, people forget both ways. Either they think it's about leaving everything, or they think surrender means you don't have to do anything about it. No, in surrender you have to play your part. That's essential. You have to play your role. Surrender doesn't mean you just become a irrelevant figure. So true surrender is where you understand, what is my role? What are the things I need to do? Use your basic intelligence to ascertain that. But what is it that you surrender? You surrender the outcome. You surrender the result. You surrender the next chapter that unfolds. Wherever this leads me. So that is the meaning of acting unattached, with only one thought. Sabka kalyan ho, wishing the welfare of the world. If you can achieve this state, I will salute you, or I salute you. If you can achieve this state, forget enlightenment, forget transattva, forget illusion, non-illusion, all of that. That will automatically happen. If you can achieve this state, wonderful. Act unattached, wishing the welfare of the world. Free yourself from all unnecessary motive. Verse number 26, beautiful verse. Na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarv karma joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yuktas samacharan. Na buddhi bhedam janayet Ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarvakarmani vidvan yuktas samacharan. Let not the wise man unsettle the minds of the ignorant attached to action. Acting united with the self, let them render all actions attractive. The wise one, Vidwan. Who is a Vidwan? The first is a Vidwan is one who is unattached. So the first step to being Vidwan is yourself being unattached. He used the same word Vidwan in verse number 25. I'm highlighting it. Right? In verse number 25 also, he used the term Vidwan. Kuryat vidvams tatha saktah. So too the wise one does. The wise one is a person who acts asakta, unattached. So the first step to being truly wise is being unattached. Understanding your part in the yajna of life and surrendering the result. That's the first step. That's the first step of true wisdom. The second is in this verse. Let not the wise man unsettle the minds of the ignorant. The wise man doesn't lecture. The wise man understands the world cannot be fixed. It's like straightening a dog's tail. Those who want to fix themselves, they will learn from your example. Period. The wise one doesn't give any unnecessary knowledge. Neither do they have a reformist idea. Oh, I need to change the world. No. They are simply rendering themselves attractive through their own example. They don't unsettle the minds of the ignorant attached. Just because you are unattached and just because you have found a way doesn't mean you go and try to convert the other person or convince them in any way. One may think, oh, of course you should help others if you have been benefited. No, certainly you should. But trying to go against the nature of a person and trying to change them when they don't want to be changed, that's actually counterproductive. So the wise person should not unsettle the minds of the ignorant. Please understand this. Earlier we said you must practice what you preach, right? That's the common saying. You must practice what you preach. Then we said, no, preach only what you practice. Now what is the Lord saying? Practice, don't preach. Practice, don't preach. There's no need to unsettle the minds of the ignorant. And there's no need to think of yourself as a Messiah who needs to do it also. Knowledge is taken. If knowledge, first of all, knowledge will be observed through example. Others will observe it in you, in your example of how you live your life, of how you make choices, of how you deal with your relationships, of how you manage your affairs. They learn from your example. Turn yourself attractive through your own example. And those who can see it will see it. Yaha pashyati saha pashyati. This thing doesn't need marketing. Truly, it needs no marketing. Like the best of things need no marketing. Nowadays, Rolex has started marketing. I wonder why. It actually doesn't need any marketing. Rarely will you see a Patek Philippe marketed. The best of things don't need marketing. This doesn't need any marketing. It just needs to prove itself by its example. Its example is its own proof. And those who understand the potency of it, they will be attracted. Those who are not ready for it will not. And there's no need for you to think that you have to make them ready for it. You have to convince them about something. No. Don't unsettle the minds of the ignorant. It is doing more harm than good. You think you'll be doing them some good, but it's actually doing more harm than good. It's a very important lesson that the Lord gives us. Verse number 27. Prakrite kriyamāṇāni gunaiః karmāణि sarvashah ahankara vimūಢātma kartāhamiti manyate. Prakrite kriyamāṇāni gunaiః karmāणि sarvashah ahankara vimūఢātma kartāhamiti manyate. All actions in all cases are performed by gunas, qualities of prakriti. Prakrite kriyamāṇāni guna karmāణi. All actions are performed by gunas born of prakriti. One who is deluded by egoism thinks, I am the doer. So another fundamental concept in Vedanta, if I can pull out that slide. Yashoji will be done with class soon. You're struggling today. The human composition. I'm going to pull out the slide. Every human is a composition, a combination of spirit and matter, Purusha and Prakriti. This is the term used in Sanskrit. Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the spirit, the Atman. Prakriti is matter, the material layers. Right? He's used this term Prakriti, that's why I'm explaining this. Every human being is a combination of Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the spirit, the Atman in you. Your Atman, your real self. Prakriti is the layers of matter enveloping this Atman. It's the layers of the bodies, the causal, subtle, gross bodies that envelop the Purusha. They are like layers of blankets. That's why some of you will remember the bhajan, Maili Chadar. Maili Chadar ओढ़ के द्वार तुम्हारे कैसे आओ. ये जो प्रकृति है, ये जो मैटर है, ये मैली चादर की तरह है. So all actions are performed by gunas of Prakriti. All actions, the way in which a person acts, the kind of activities they're capable of, their swadharma, their nature, their qualities, they're all born of gunas of Prakriti. All gunas belong to matter. All your gunas, all your qualities, gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, they belong to matter. The spirit is gunatita. Gunatita means beyond all gunas, transcends all gunas. The Purusha has no guna, it's gunatita. All gunas belong to matter. They are essentially fundamental qualities of vasanas. The vasanas have gunas, and they grow into thoughts and desires and ideas, and they develop into actions and attributes. Right? So all gunas are born of Prakriti. The Purusha, the Atman, is gunatita. So actions in all cases are performed by these gunas of Prakriti. That's the reason. The reason you perform different actions from me is because your gunas are different from me, from mine. The reason a person has an interest in this particular field, another person has interest in that particular field, a person is wonderful and more creative, another person is less creative but more analytical. All of these are differences in gunas, and they manifest as different types of actions. Some people are good in a certain kind of action and not so good in another kind. Right? The problem arises because of egoism. when someone begins to think, I am my gunas are me. So one who is deluded by egoism thinks, I am the doer. Actually, you are not the doer. Your gunas are the doer. Your prakriti is the doer. The more you learn to make this distinction between prakriti and purusha, the more you learn to make this distinction between Atman, spirit, and matter, you'll realize the Atman is not the actor. Everything is being done by prakriti. So they belong to your body, mind, intellect. Your gunas belong to your body, mind, intellect. The actions are being performed by the body, mind, intellect, not you. But out of egoism, what is egoism? Ahankara is that association with the body, mind, intellect. Ahankara is nothing but the association with the body, mind, intellect. Out of egoism, you associate yourself with your prakriti. You associate yourself with your gunas, and you think, I am the doer. So that's the genesis, that's the core from where this kartritva bhavana arises. I am the doer. Because you fail to make the distinction between prakriti and purusha. But to a wise person, it's very evident. It's just guna guneshu vartante. Gunas playing among gunas. You identify with your gunas and you start believing, I am so smart, I am so intelligent, I am so good. Or you feel, I am so bad, I am so dull, other people don't like me. The core of the problem is that you are attached to your own gunas. That's the problem. And you're endlessly waiting for you're waiting for the impossible to happen. You're waiting for everything to be perfect and everyone to agree with you and everyone to like you. The nature of gunas is that they're subject to dvandva, means opposites. There's always going to be opposites. There's going to be those that like your gunas, those that don't like it. Those that are good, those that are not so good. It's going to be in the realm of dvandva. But you're hoping for the impossible, imagining the impossible. So this fundamental ignorance comes because of your inability to distinguish between Purusha and Prakriti, Atman and the bodies, the spirit and matter. All actions are born out of gunas that belong to matter. The spirit is simply the sakshi. The spirit is simply the observer. But because of egoism, because of the misassociation you have with your own gunas, you believe, I am the doer. I have done this. It's very funny. Not only do we fail to recognize everything else that has contributed to our ability to do something, we even fail to realize that our own minds, our own body are a gift of nature. What have I done? What have I done? Okay, I've just made sure that I've eaten the right kind of food and I've studied a little bit and I've taken care of my body and my muscles and my mind and my capacity to think. That's all I've done, if at all. But they are fundamentally a gift of nature to me. Think of it as a birthright. No. My body is the doer. My mind is the doer. It's a fundamentally different way of looking at life. My mind is feeling happy. My mind is not so happy. It's a totally different way of seeing yourself, of being sakshi to yourself. But because one lacks this objectivity, one out of egoism thinks, I am the doer. This is the birth of kartritva bhavana. And we'll discuss this further in the next class. So we'll conclude out here. And we'll take up this conversation on Thursday. So thank you so much for joining. If there are any quick questions, okay, yeah, Rituji, quick question.
Just this, sir, you said guna, guneshu, vartante. I missed, sir. What would that mean?
Gunas abide in gunas. The gunas are simply playing with gunas. Means that this entire world is, and it's a verse that's going to come up in the next couple of chapters. Guna guneshu vartante ti matva na sajjate. So So gunas abide in gunas, and gunas are
Okay.
interacting with other gunas. So the this entire world is simply a reaction between various gunas. Sattva meeting Rajas creates a certain reaction. Tamas meeting Rajas creates a certain reaction. Sattva meeting Sattva has a certain reaction. It's all a wonderful play. When Sattva meets Sattva, it's a heaven. When Tamas meets Tamas, it's a hell. When Rajas meets Rajas, it's a confusion. When Rajas meets Sattva, it's a possibility. When Rajas meets Tamas, it's disaster. Right? So all it's just a play of gunas. Guna guneshu vartante.
उस समय जब आप ये श्लोक बोल रहे थे तो मैंने कल मैच देखा क्रिकेट का, जो टेस्ट मैच चल रहा है, एंड इंडियन वर इन अ वेरी बैड शेप एट वन टाइम व्हेन 3 पीपल वर आउट. ये जो दोनों प्लेयर जो थे, केएल राहुल और वो इतना अच्छा खेले अगेंस्ट ऑनस्लॉट ऑफ सच ए हैवी बम्बार्डमेंट ऑफ सच ए स्पीड ऑफ, कितने ओवर उन्होंने ऐसे जाने दिए मैडन. बट व्हेन द बॉल का शेप बिगड़ गया, व्हेन द स्पिनर्स केम, माय गॉड, उन्होंने सिक्सर मार के 185 मेड रिकॉर्ड. द कमाल की वो, मैं कभी जनरली देखता नहीं हूँ ये मैच, बट मुझे देख के इतना मजा आया कि व्हाट ए डिटर्मिनेशन दे हैव गॉट. और ये गुणों की बात हो रही थी, जो आपने अभी गुणों की बात की थी, तो जो उन्होंने देखे, जो उनके जो गुण थे इंग्लैंड के, वो ऑन स्लॉट था उनका, उनके बॉडी के ऊपर बहुत हिट किया, बट इवन देन दे स्टूड वेरी वेरी वेल. सो इंडियन क्रिकेट टीम हैज रियली कम अप टू ए वेरी हाई लेवल ऑफ, I was amazed to see that. I don't know whether you saw that or not.
Yes. Those who know me will know exactly what I saw. I didn't see all of it, but I saw most of it.
But they, I think, made a record of 185 runs together.
Yeah. No, and Rishabh Pant, he scored 2 centuries.
Yeah.
So that's also a record. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on Thursday.